If you are drinking bottled water and think you are safe, I am going to shock you. What you drink every day may be dirtier than tap water. You think it is pure. In reality, it contains a pile of harmful substances, microplastics, BPA bacteria, and even heavy metals. And the scariest part is that you cannot see any of it. You keep drinking, keep thinking you are safe until the day you are taken straight into the emergency room. If you are over 50, the story becomes even more serious. Microplastics trigger chronic inflammation. BPA affects hormones, and some substances can make your medication less effective. And the bottled water industry is not always honest. They are selling you an illusion in order to make more profit. They are hiding the truth from you, but I am not. In today's video, I will expose 7 brands you should avoid, give you 3 safe options I confidently recommend to my own family, and more importantly, the bottled water choosing principles that very few people in the UK know. Are you ready? The promise of the bottled water industry and the disaster in the UK. In the UK, bottled water has always been considered the safest choice. But that is now the past, and if you are over 50, this is no longer something you should know, it is something you must know. I say this as someone who has worked in older adult health for more than 10 years, and I have never seen the situation as bad as the last 2 years. The bottled water industry has sold us 3 very reassuring promises. One is that bottled water is cleaner than tap water. 2 is that it is healthier. 3 is that it is convenient, just carry it with you and you are safe. These 3 promises strike directly at your mindset once you pass 50, when you start drinking less, feeling less thirsty, and easily believing that a premium bottle of water will protect a body that is gradually weakening. But this is the biggest deception, and it is being uncovered layer by layer right here in the UK. In the past year, the Drinking Water Inspectorate has raised concerns after detecting PFAS in many water sources. PFAS are substances that remain in the body, almost permanently accumulating over time. They can increase cholesterol, disrupt immunity, and affect the liver and kidneys. At the same time, studies on microplastics show that bottled water contains significantly higher levels of microplastics than tap water. These nanoplastic particles can penetrate tissues and go straight into the bloodstream. All of this is poisoning your body. What worries me most is that the UK's regulation system is moving slower than the US and Europe. We do not have mandatory PFAS limits. There are no strict standards. Much of the data does not have to be made public. Frankly, if you expect anyone to protect you, you will be disappointed. That is why I made this video. Not to frighten you, but to give you a chance to protect yourself. Because when the system is slow, and the bottled water industry still hides many things, you need to know the truth. And the first truth is the 7 names you must avoid at all costs. Number 1. Nestlé Pure Life. When it comes to bottled water, the entire world from Europe to the US agrees on one name to avoid most: Nestlé Pure Life. And that is why I want you to know this. Pure Life sounds very safe. A nice name, clean imagery, neatly packaged, looking exactly like something everyone assumes is better than tap water. But the truth goes in the opposite direction. In a major study by Orb Media, where they tested 259 bottles of water from 11 different brands, Pure Life had samples ranked among the highest in microplastics. And not just slightly higher. It was at levels that newspapers in both the UK and the US used as the prime example whenever discussing microplastic risks in drinking water. If you are under 30, microplastics are already unpleasant. But if you are over 50, the story changes completely. After 50, the body becomes more inflamed, the liver and kidneys filter more slowly, and immunity is no longer quick to respond. If you are taking blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, or diabetes medication, having your body process, Additional plastic particles is not easy at all. These particles can move into tissues, cause silent inflammation, and that inflammation is the foundation of many chronic diseases in older adults. But Pure Life's issues do not stop there. The brand's parent company in Europe was once investigated for using banned treatment techniques on mineral water. Methods like ultraviolet light and activated carbon are not permitted for mineral water, as it must preserve the natural qualities of the source. But investigations in France showed these methods had been used for years and even hidden. Once discovered, they had to adjust their processes and pay fines. For me, this is not only about regulatory violations, but a huge question of trust. And as you know, the UK still does not have clear PFAS regulations for bottled water. Brands do not always disclose everything. In that context, I cannot support products with this many blind spots, especially when the people consuming them are over 50, the group most vulnerable to toxins that accumulate over time. If there is one brand I truly want you to think very carefully about before putting into your basket, it is Nestlé Pure Life. And if you think this is already complicated enough, the next brand worries me even more, especially for anyone concerned about blood sugar and dental health. Number 2, Volvic. Many people enjoy fruit-flavored water because they think it is gentler, easier to drink, and healthier than soft drinks. It sounds reasonable, especially when you have passed 50 and want to stay hydrated but do not enjoy plain water. But with Volvic Touch of Fruit, this becomes a dangerous misunderstanding. Volvic is widely seen as natural mineral water from volcanic regions, giving the brand a clean and trustworthy image. But that applies to the plain, unflavored version. With Touch of Fruit or Juiced, the story changes entirely. These bottles appear on shelves as if they are a more pleasant version of water. Light colors, fresh fruit visuals, and the phrase touch of fruit looking very healthy, easily convincing older adults that this is simply mineral water with a light flavor. It fits the mindset, but the reality is not that simple. The first point you need to pay attention to is sugar. Some touch of fruit versions contain sugar, and this is clearly written on the label. When drinking, sugar enters the body quickly because it feels as light as water. For people over 50, this is a serious issue. Sugar raises blood glucose, increases the risk of type 2 diabetes, contributes to weight gain and higher blood lipids, and disrupts calorie balance, which is already harder to manage at this age. You may think it is just a small bottle, but if you drink it daily, the accumulated sugar becomes significant, and it completely contradicts your health goals. The second point, equally important, is acid. Most fruit-flavored waters contain acid for a fresher taste, including citric acid. Acid softens tooth enamel, and if you sip it throughout the day, the enamel erodes gradually. For young people, this is already harmful. For people over 50 whose teeth are weaker with more crowns and more dry mouth, this becomes genuinely serious. Once enamel is lost, it is very difficult to restore. Many people have no idea why their teeth become more sensitive over time simply because they drink fruit-flavored water daily, believing it is safe. The third point is marketing. When a product contains sugar, acid, and flavorings, but is placed next to mineral water labeled water and wrapped in fresh, clean imagery, it easily misleads consumers into thinking it is still healthy water. Especially older adults who tend to believe that anything categorized as mineral water must be healthier than soft drinks. But Touch of Fruit is not mineral water for daily drinking. It is closer to a lightly flavored beverage, and if consumed regularly over years, it will affect overall health. If you are trying to keep blood sugar stable, protect your teeth, control your weight, and maintain long-term health after 50, avoiding fruit-flavored water like Volvic, Touch of Fruit is something you should seriously consider. And this is not the end, there are more names to avoid. Let us move to the third brand. Number 3, Smart Water. There are products that will not make you ill immediately, but they give me the sense that you are paying for a very cleverly constructed illusion. And Smart Water is the perfect example of such a product. When you look at this bottle, everything appears convincing. Attractive design, a name that sounds intelligent, and a processing description filled with scientific-sounding language. Everything is crafted to make the water appear upgraded. And older adults who often trust what looks professional and well explained easily believe this water is superior to ordinary water. But as a health professional, I look at the essence rather than the story. And the essence here raises many questions. Several European food oversight organisations have given Smart Water less than flattering assessments. Some have called their advertising hollow science. Others have used it as a prime example of unnecessary exaggeration. And when reviewing the process behind Smart Water, I understand why. They begin with spring water from Northumberland, which is naturally excellent mineral water. But then the vapour distillation process removes almost all minerals, making it similar to distilled water. It sounds cleaner, but for the body it is not ideal. You lose all natural minerals, which are what makes spring water valuable. Then they add back a small amount of minerals, like calcium chloride or magnesium chloride, but in very low quantities. So low that the nutrition label still shows 0 millimolar sodium and no meaningful nutritional value. Experts from the Cleveland Clinic and international water sommeliers all note that these electrolytes do not benefit health in the way the marketing suggests. Using a complex process to create a product that is inferior to the original water source, then calling it an upgrade, is something I truly struggle to understand. Smart Water does not provide the benefits you might expect. And when I see a product built more on hype than on substance, I put it back on the shelf instead of into my basket. Number 4. Highland Spring. There are risks you never think about when buying a bottle of water. Chemicals, microplastics, sugar, those are still easy to imagine. But the idea that a bottle could explode in your kitchen is something almost no one ever thinks about. And with Highland Spring, that has actually happened. Highland Spring is a big name in the UK. A very big one. This is not some unknown brand. Their revenue is in the hundreds of millions of pounds. They hold more than 1/10 of the bottled water market. They also have a clean, organic, environmentally friendly image chosen by many families who believe their products are almost perfectly safe. And to be honest, I used to think quite highly of them too. But the incident in 2021 completely changed my view. That year, the UK Food Standards Agency required a recall of around 30,750 ml sparkling glass bottles from Highland Spring due to explosion risk. This risk came from a pressure fault in the bottles. There were already a few reported incidents from users, including one person with minor cuts when a bottle shattered. It may sound like only a few small cases, but when the story involves exploding glass in your kitchen bathroom, or even in your hand, it stops being a small matter. This is an immediate physical risk that happens in an instant, not something that accumulates over years like chemicals. And unfortunately, this is still not the final case that makes me want to remind you to stay cautious. There are other brands that look harmless but create quieter, more persistent harm every day. Let us continue. Number 5. Vitamin water. If you have heart issues or simply need to be careful with sugar, be cautious with vitamin water. I know many older adults choose this drink because they think it adds vitamins, makes the body healthier, and is a better choice than soft drinks. The packaging is full of words like vitamin energy and active lifestyle. It is sold in supermarkets, gyms, and sports shops, so people assume it is good for their health, especially if they are trying to stay hydrated and want a little extra vitamin boost. But the truth is very different from what you see on the bottle. The first thing I want you to notice is the sugar content. One bottle of vitamin water has about 33 grams of sugar, which is nearly a quarter of the maximum daily recommended amount. If you are over 50, your body does not process sugar as efficiently as before. Sugar absorbed too fast in liquid form can make your blood sugar spike, leaving you tired, hungry again, quickly, and struggling with your weight. For those at risk of type 2 diabetes, high blood lipids, or managing heart conditions, this amount of sugar is something you really should not take in every day. And what about the vitamins in the bottle? They make up less than half of 1% of the volume, meaning you are drinking a bottle of sugar in exchange for a tiny bit of vitamin your body can easily get from food. The second point that worries me even more is the advertising. Vitamin water has been blocked by the UK Advertising Standards Authority twice for misleading health claims. Once for suggesting it makes you healthier, and another time for implying it is a better choice than ordinary water. A clear sign that they have pushed the story far beyond reality. It does not stop there. The Children's Food Campaign and the British Heart Foundation found that most vitamin water flavours do not contain real fruit juice despite the marketing. Out of 8 varieties, 5 contained no juice at all, and the remaining 3 only used juice from concentrate. Coca-Cola, the company behind vitamin water, eventually had to admit the descriptions were inaccurate. I call this dishonesty, especially when the product is marketed as good for health. In the US, vitamin water was even hit with a class action lawsuit and forced to change its labels, clearly stating it contains sweeteners and removing all unfounded health claims. When a product must be changed because it is accused of misleading people, I think that is a clear enough warning. The danger is not just the sugar. It is the belief that you are doing something good for your body when you are actually consuming the opposite. And that is why I always say vitamin water is not healthy water, but a sugary drink dressed up as vitamins. Number 6. Harrogate Spring Water. Harrogate Spring Water has always been considered one of the respectable brands of the UK. Clean water, long heritage and image tied to nature, recycling and sustainability. Many people believe that if they must choose a responsible bottled water brand, this is surely a top candidate. And that is why the story around Harrogate once truly surprised me. Some time ago, Harrogate planned to expand its factory. From a business perspective, that does not sound wrong. But the problem was that this expansion required destroying a woodland called Rotary Wood. And this was not a commercial forest planted for harvesting. Rotary Wood was a place planted over many years by local children, families, and residents as an environmental project and a small symbol of community pride. What made the situation so sensitive was the image Harrogate had built for years. This brand has always spoken about sustainability, environmental responsibility, and recycling. If you look at their adverts, you will see beautiful words about nature and preservation. Yet the expansion plan went against all of that. Many people called it greenwash, meaning talking green but not living green. I have spoken with many older adults about this story, and interestingly, very few talked about the water itself. What they mentioned more was values, a sense of lost trust, the feeling that the brand had not behaved rightly toward the community where it operates. At an older age, people care more about whether a brand is ethical and respectful of the environment, not just about taste or packaging. And the Rotary Wood incident cost Harrogate one of its greatest strengths: trust. And in fact, Harrogate is still not the final case that makes me want you to stay careful. There is another brand, and its story goes in a completely different direction. A direction that makes many people think they are choosing a premium product when in reality, the opposite is true. It is the final name in the list to avoid today. Number 7. Fiji Water. Perhaps this is the name that surprises the most people. Premium, reputable, maybe even at the top of many experts' lists of bottled waters to buy. But the more I read, the more I see this as one of the clearest examples of how image can cover the truth completely. Fiji once recalled nearly 2 million bottles because of issues related to manganese and bacteria. Regulators in the US said it was not dangerously high, but think about it, a brand that claims absolute purity still letting such a fault happen shows something is not right. These kinds of incidents are like tiny cracks but enough to break trust. Then there is the issue of arsenic. A public test in Cleveland once showed Fiji water containing more than 6 micrograms per litre of arsenic, while the city's tap water had none. I must be honest, if tap water is cleaner than a bottle sold at many times the price, you should stop and question things immediately. Not to mention, this brand has been sued for misleading advertising, especially with its slogan, Earth's Finest Water, which sounds good but does not reflect reality. There is more. Some tests have found Fiji contains microplastics and BPA. For those under 30, this may not be too concerning, but if you are over 50, these things matter. BPA can affect hormones and heart health, while microplastics cause silent inflammation in the body. And you do not drink this once. You could be consuming it every day if you are not careful. But the final point is what truly makes Fiji water troubling: the journey it takes to reach you. This bottle travels almost half the planet to reach the UK. More than 16,000 kilometers for a bottle of water. In environmental impact, it is roughly 2,000 times heavier than your tap water, meaning you pay for a luxurious feeling, but the environment pays for the consequences. After discovering 7 names that may disappoint you, you are probably asking yourself, so how should you choose water safely? This is the moment we need a few foundational principles, very simple but extremely effective, so you no longer have to guess or struggle every time you buy water. Ready? Principles for choosing safe bottled water. Once you pass 50, there is an important truth very few people say directly: your body does not handle water the way it did when you were young. You feel less thirsty, but your liver, kidneys, heart, and even your brain still need enough water every day. Therefore, after hearing so many warnings about risky bottles, the last thing I want is for you to fear drinking water. No. What you need to do is not avoid, but choose correctly. And with just a few basic principles, you can protect yourself better than any advertisement ever could. The first principle when choosing a bottle of water in the UK is simple: the simpler the water, the safer it is. If the bottle has strawberry flavour, lemon, tropical vitamin, or looks sparkling with strong health-sounding words, be careful. Flavoured waters often contain sugar or sweeteners, and almost always contain acid. For people over 50, acid not only erodes enamel faster, but can irritate the stomach. Sugar, needless to say, increases weight, causes blood sugar swings, and affects heart health. You do not need extra risk from a single bottle of water. Prioritize still plain water with no colour, no flavour, no additives. Next is sodium. Many people do not realise that water contains salt. And if you have high blood pressure, water, retention, kidney disease, or heart failure, even small amounts of sodium can make a difference. A safe option is to choose water with sodium under around 20 milligrams per litre. This is not a law, but a cautious level to avoid raising blood pressure just by drinking water. If you pick up a bottle, turn it around and look at the mineral analysis. It is tiny, but that is where the truth is. Another factor is total mineral content, or TDS. Those with healthy kidneys can drink medium mineral water comfortably, but if you have chronic kidney disease, high mineral content forces the kidneys to work harder. The body after 50 prefers gentleness. Light, smooth mineral water is usually safer than the heavily mineralized water often glorified in advertisements. Additionally, you need to distinguish the 3 types of bottled water in the UK, as they are very different despite looking similar. Natural mineral water has a stable mineral composition but can be quite heavy. Spring water is underground water with minimal processing. Bottled drinking water can simply be treated tap water. Then there is the matter of plastic bottles. No plastic bottle is made to be reused many times. Do not leave bottles in a hot car in the boot or under the sun. Heat releases microplastics and chemicals more quickly. If you want to reuse, pour the water into a stainless steel or glass bottle. And never drink from a bottle that has been opened and left for several days, especially if your immunity is not as strong as it once was. Water is something you drink every day. When you understand how to choose it, you feel more confident, healthier, and more in control. And if you are wondering whether there are brands in the UK that are truly suitable for those over 50, the answer is yes. Based on the principles I have just shared, there are 3 names you can feel more comfortable using when you really need bottled water. Number 1, Just Water. This is the name that every time I mention it, I always feel much more at ease compared with many other brands. After we have gone through all kinds of scandals, controversies and risks in the previous section, I want to begin the safe list with a brand that I personally feel very comfortable recommending to anyone looking for bottled water with the least possible risk. The first thing that makes Just Water different is how they build their product. They do not try to wrap themselves in flashy marketing. They do not chase exaggerated claims. They do not promise things like the purest water on the planet. Instead, they start with the simplest and most important things: a clean water source and a transparent production model. Just Water sources its water from the Adirondack region, known for clean springs with low impurities. If you are used to heavy mineral water or overly purified filtered water, you will find Just Water Light easy to drink and natural. For those managing blood pressure or kidney function, choosing light mineral water like this is always a safer option. It provides enough hydration without placing extra strain on minerals or sodium. But what makes me value Just Water most is the packaging. Instead of using conventional PET plastic bottles, they use cartons made mostly from plant-based materials, which make up about 88% of the total structure. This not only significantly reduces carbon emissions, but also reduces the risk of substances like BPA or microplastics leaching into the water. For those over 50, this is genuinely worth considering, as the body at this age is more sensitive to endocrine disruptors and chronic inflammation triggers. Just Water is also one of the few brands that clearly discloses how they extract their water and how they give back to the local community. No over-extraction, no environmental scandals, no behavior that contradicts their values. In a time when many major brands face ethical or social responsibility issues, this transparency feels genuinely refreshing. I am not saying Just Water is absolutely perfect, but if you are looking for a bottled water brand that is low risk, clean, honest, and suitable for daily drinking, this is a trustworthy option. Light taste, safer packaging compared with traditional plastic clear origin and sustainable commitments make it one of the names I feel most confident recommending to people over 50. Number 2, Proud Source. Do you ever feel that drinking water is boring? If so, try Proud Source. Their water is sourced from the Rocky Mountains, one of North America's most famous high-altitude water regions. Naturally alkaline pH-balanced minerals and natural electrolytes give the water a clear, light taste that goes down very smoothly. For me, this is the type of mineral water that the body absorbs in the most gentle way, not heavy like high mineral water, but not flat like industrial filtered water. What makes Proud Source special is the feeling when you drink it. The aluminium bottle holds temperature so well that the water still feels cool even when kept at room temperature. It is a sort of natural coolness, not freezing cold but clean and clear. I have tried many bottled waters, and Proud Source is one of the few I can honestly say has a noticeably distinct taste. It is not sweet, not strongly mineral, yet makes you want another sip. For anyone who often forgets to drink water or struggles to drink enough daily, this is a significant advantage. Aside from the water quality, Proud Source's packaging is another major plus. Instead of plastic bottles, they use infinitely recyclable aluminium bottles. This removes the common bottled water worries, BPA microplastics, or chemical leaching from long storage. With aluminium, those risks are almost gone. And clearly using infinitely recyclable material is their way of demonstrating environmental responsibility, convincingly not in the greenwash style of many other brands. If you have ever been disappointed by mineral water brands with loud advertising but unimpressive taste, Proud Source may pleasantly surprise you. And more importantly, it still maintains the safety standards that bottled water must have. Number 3. San Pellegrino. Perhaps this is the most special name among today's recommendations. What makes San Pellegrino special lies in its journey. This water begins from underground springs used for centuries. From there, it takes more than 30 years to travel through the geological layers of the northern Italian Alps. 30 years just to go from point A to point B, absorbing minerals from gypsum and dolomite, gradually becoming a mineral water with a unique flavor that modern technology cannot replicate. You do not have to be a mineral water enthusiast to notice this difference. It reveals itself in the very first sip. The taste of San Pellegrino is not strong, not overwhelming, not giving the too mineral feeling of some mountain waters. It has a very pleasant balance, enough for you to feel the natural minerals, but not so much that you get tired of it if you drink it all day. This is the kind of water you can take on a walk or simply keep on your desk, and you will still want to drink it without forcing yourself just to meet your hydration goal. Another thing I value is the brand's consistency. San Pellegrino is natural mineral water belonging to a category strictly controlled in Europe, and for many years it has rarely been involved in scandals about improper treatment or unstable quality. For natural mineral water, consistency is not easy, and San Pellegrino has maintained it very well. I often recommend San Pellegrino for those who want water with a bit of character, not too plain but not too heavy. It brings a sense of elegance and softness, and if you pay attention you will see it makes regular hydration feel more enjoyable. Would you like to try it right after watching this video? You can see that bottled water seems simple, but when you look closely at each brand, each process and each risk, you realize your health depends on many things smaller than you might think. And the most important thing after this video is not whether you remember all 7 brands to avoid or the 3 safe brands, but that you now have clearer eyes to protect yourself. Now I want to hear from you. Among the brands mentioned today, have you ever tried any? Have you ever felt confused about bottled water but did not know who to ask? Or is there a local supermarket or nearby shop water brand you want me to check for you? Leave a comment, because sometimes your question is exactly what many others need. And do not forget to follow so you do not miss any upcoming videos. We have many interesting things ahead to explore together.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.